Today we are joined by Kaushal Trivedi, our Business Development Manager, and Dennis McGinnis, our Product Support Person. So with that, I would like to welcome Kaushal.
Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for joining this webinar for the new offering from Teledyne ISCO. Teledyne ISCO, let me give you some background. Those who don't know about Teledyne ISCO. Teledyne ISCO was established in 1958. And in 1970, we started our environmental division. And under that division, we are making automatic sampler and open channel flow measurement. For automatic sampler, we have portable samplers, permanent samplers, and portable refrigerated sampler, different bottle configurations and different interfaces available. For open channel flow measurement, we have 4 different type of measurement technology depending on application. We also make different type of electronics, logger, flow meters, depending on customer needs. We also provide remote communication option as well as cloud-based software. The missing link was providing the cellular service, and this webinar is for that particular service that we're going to start offering. The need for, let me set some platform here. The need for remote communication with field instrument is growing because it provides customer to avoid time-consuming and expensive site visit to collect the data. And with remote communication, user also can get an alert to take proactive action. But what happens that many companies provide the remote communication options for their field instrument and then requires user to work with local service provider of their choice for the cellular service. In that process, user has to place separate orders for field instrument and cellular service. They have to get hold of service providers to get a SIM card, and this is time-consuming process, so it results in delay. In many cases, the local cellular office, provider's office, deals with a voice service that works on your phone. So many times they deal with the consumer part, where they generally deal with the phone service, not really the data service that we want. And the data service is required for the field instrument, that it is called machine-to-machine interface. So it is the different service than normal voice service that we are using on a regular basis with our phone. So then it results in that customer gets a wrong service or wrong person in touch, and when the service is incorrect, it results in further delay as well as frustration. So to help customer, and Teledyne ISCO has decided to provide cell services for their instrument as one of the offering. So that is today's webinar. So let's dive into agenda that what we will be covering today. So in today's agenda, we will first cover what are the benefits of us offering this cellular service from our side. That cellular service that we will be offering as an iSell service. Then we will be talking about different versions of iSell services, buy, rent kind of stuff. And we'll provide details for each of the version on each of the services. And then we will go that how we can provide or we can offer that service when you order along with our modem or already for the equipment that are in field. And what are the requirements when you place an order for the brand new service? What are our order requirements? And then we will go for what, it's a subscription base. So we want to make sure that you get uninterrupted service. So how we will manage the reminder mechanism, that we will talk about it. And that for the renewal, what are the requirements? Same as when you place a first order, what are the requirements? Same thing goes with the renewal. What are the requirements? We will also provide this iSell service as a rent. So how that rental program will work, will provide you that service. And lastly, that what kind of a support you should expect from us for these services. So let's talk about iSell benefits first. So the benefits of iSell is, first of all, it's a competitive pricing. We have bulk pricing available with us, and that's why we are passing on their price benefit to our customer. So you get very competitive pricing on iSell services when you sign up iSell with us. The solution will be fully tested. So before sending equipment, if you have ordered prior to or along with the equipment or along with the cell phone modem, we will test complete solution and make sure everything is works. Your text is working, alarm is working, your data is working fine. Everything we will be testing before sending it to you, so that you will be able to start the services on day one. The day you put the field equipment in the field, you can start the services. Single source for hardware and service. So you don't have to deal with multiple orders that we talked about. You just place one order and it will be single source. Single source has many other advantage in the support also that we will be talking in the next slide. But here, just we'll talk about this, the ordering purpose. As I mentioned, service will be available on the first day of install, so that you don't have to wait for that service, local service provider to provide the SIM cards, and all this delay is gone now. You will start using the services from day one. And you will get the correct service, machine to machine service that we talked about. That kind of a service is required, and we know what kind of services work with our equipment. So from day one, you will get the correct service, and that is designed for our equipment. Then we talked about, let's say, post sell benefits. The post sell complete troubleshooting. So many times we have seen that when customer has any issue with remote communication, they don't know it is whose fault or where is the issue coming from. Is it coming from field instrument or it is coming from cell service provider? Now it's like pointing finger here and there. We want to avoid that. You can avoid that by going to one source and you get a complete troubleshooting. If the service is not or communication is not established, we will be able to diagnose whether it's a field equipment issue or the cell phone service issue. Maybe tower is down, that's a possible, but we will be able to figure it out and we can point in the right direction. In most of the cases, we will be able to resolve the issues. So it's a faster troubleshooting due to the visibility on connectivity, end-to-end connectivity. We will have a good visibility. So that's why you will get a faster troubleshooting. And verify the service is active. We will have a visibility of all the tower is active, not or going shut down or not. So we will have a complete visibility and we should be able to verify whether the service is active or not. And we have the knowledge of our equipment, so we can troubleshoot our own equipment in case there is an issue with our equipment not communicating with the cell phone module properly or not. We will be able to tackle that easily. So these are the post-sales benefit of iSell service. So we talked about all the benefits. Let's talk about the different version, and I would like to invite Dennis McGinnis to discuss about different versions of iSell service, ordering requirements, and kind of stuff. So Dennis, please take over from here.
Thank you, Kaushal. Yeah, so with that, I will go ahead and start discussing the iSell versions that we have available. We have them broken down into three parts. The first year is going to be obviously the very first time you're going to sign up for iSell. The renewal will come in after that, and we have different part numbers because there's a different process considering what we need to be done in the first year versus what has to happen on the renewal. And we'll cover that in the following slides. And then I'm going to touch on our new rental process that we have, or program that we have, and the process it takes to get that set up. So to start off with, let's talk about our first year and how that works. So the part number is actually just spelled out cell service. So the very first time you're ordering, you'll use that part number to set it up. And what we'll do in that first year is we are going to supply you with a new SIM card. And that SIM card will be set up with the service that's needed. But if you are buying a new modem or new hardware at that same time that you're ordering iSell, we're going to go ahead and take that SIM card, and we're not only going to set it up, but we're going to test it with the same equipment that's going to be arriving at your doorstep. So we will set it up, test it, and leave it pre-programmed, ready to go, and then we will ship that out to you. The idea there is, as Kaushal mentioned earlier, it will be ready to go. You open the box, and you can go right into the field, and you're ready to start your service. In some situations, we will have customers that already have modems, however, and they are just simply wanting to switch over from their current cell contract over into iSell. And we'll discuss a few of the ways we get that running as well. So let's talk about, let's first off talk about how this is going to work if you're ordering new equipment. So to do that, there's a few things we're going to need. We're going to need your name, phone number, and email address. Now, to be clear, that email address that you are providing us there, that is the way we are going to remind you when your cell service is coming up for expiration. And I will cover that later in another slide here. But I want to point out here that when you give your purchaser contact information here, that email is going to be very crucial on who you have on that email, because that's the person that's going to be let know when the cell service is coming up for expiration. All right. Once the order is in place, however, and you have brand new equipment, as mentioned, we're going to establish that service. We're going to test that service, and we're going to test that with your very equipment that's going to go out the door. So we will pull that equipment off the shelf. We will set it up, program it, ready to go, and put it back in a box and ship all of it together in one package so you can open it up and start. So when you already have a modem, however, and you're simply just switching over to iSell, we need a few different things, but from the beginning, it's all the same. We still need a name and a phone number and email address. And again, that same email is going to be used for your expiration notices. But this is where it switches up a little bit. Because we won't have the hardware in-house and you will have it in your possession, we're going to need a few point informations about that equipment. And that is the serial number of the equipment or the modem and the IMEI number of the modem. And both those can be found on the sticker of the modem that you have in your possession. Now, once we have that information, we can now marry that SIM card to that hardware. And once that's been done, we can go ahead and establish service to that SIM card. And what we'll do is, because we don't have the actual hardware in hand, because you have it, we will, however, get a similar piece of equipment. So if it's a DuraTracker, we'll go grab a DuraTracker off the shelf. If it's a signature, we'll go grab a signature off the shelf. We will test that SIM card with the same equipment that it's going to be going into, just so we know everything's been tested and everything's working. Once that's been verified, we'll pull the SIM card out and we will ship you the SIM card. So when you receive it, you can slide the SIM card into your equipment, and then you can program up your equipment for the rest of the like the IMEI, or I'm sorry, the APN, things like that. But the SIM card will be verified, known working with the correct service that you need. So let's talk about the rental. The renewal. The renewal a little bit more, how that's going to be a little different. So when you get to the renewal, the part number changes to cell renewal instead of the first year. And so what that does is that lets us know that we are not going to pull a new SIM out and reprogram it and find equipment to load it up with. We understand that this is just a renewal of a SIM card that you already have in your possession. So you will use this part number for every year after the first year. And then that's how we're going to renew your service plan from year to year, is that part number there. So it is pretty key to know which part number to order when whether it's versus a brand new situation or if you're just going to renew it. So let's talk about the service details that's going to come with your iSell. iCell will provide on a monthly allowance per line. So each SIM card or each modem gets 10 megabytes of data. So that's to push data up or to connect with it and talk to it. This is very similar, or I'm sorry, this is very, this is very similar to what a lot of people already have contracts are using right now. 10 megabytes is a very solid plan for what's needed for the industry of moving data. So 10 megabytes should be more than enough for what you need. The service for the text messages is $25 per month. Now that is going to include all alarms that you have programmed into your equipment. So any alarms that are going out, those alarms will be one of those 25. And then in the case of the DuraTracker and the 6712 modem, you have the ability to text it a text message for it to respond back. So once it responds back, its IP address request as an example, so you can make that phone call and make a connection to it, that will be one of those 25 text messages. So the reminder mechanism, how we're going to let you know when the service is coming up for expiration, is we're going to do that via emails. Those emails are going to go out at a 3-month, at a 1-month, a 2 weeks before expiration time schedule, and then we will send one more a week after it expired, just in case you weren't paying attention and weren't aware that your stuff wasn't working. We'll send one more after the expiration, and then you won't receive any more. Then you'll just probably find out by not getting your data. I just want to stress that the email of the contact information, as I mentioned earlier, that is the one we're going to be used for your reminders. So make sure that that email on your contact is the one you want for the person going to send that up. And we do suggest that you renew your cell subscription before it expires. That way you don't have any interruptions in your service. There are some situations where you could have loss of data depending on how long that interruption is. Your meter may overwrite its data. It's just going to depend on the situation. There's a few variables there, but in the end of the day, yeah, we are obviously suggesting get it renewed before it expires instead of after, just because it's going to be a lot easier for us to help you not having to worry about trying to get the old data back into the system and things like that. So here's an example of what the email reminder looks like. Now, the key things you're going to look at here is we will have your lines of service. So if you just have one line in this email, there's just one line. But if there's multiple lines of service in that same time period, they will all be listed here. And the other key thing is then when you contact us with that email there and the phone number there, is you'll want to use that part number for your renewal. You're going to use the cell renewal part number when you send that email out to ISCO orders, or you call the 800 number. Use the cell renewal to make sure they understand that you already have the cell service. You're just renewing it. All right. So here again is the email address that you're gonna shoot that to, or you can call our 800 number and use option 4 to talk to customer service. For that information, we obviously need a PO reflecting the part number, cell renewal, and then the cell phone information of the line that you want to renew. So maybe you have 4 lines and you only need to renew 3. It's very key that we know which 3 you want renewed. And that information is listed in the previous email example I gave you. It's IP address, phone number, all that information is listed in that email of what's coming up to be renewed. And so we need you to verify that those are all the lines. We need to have that information of which lines you want renewed. Okay, so let's talk about cell rent. So this is our rental program we are setting up, and its part number is cell rent. So this is going to be different than the first year and the renewals. Those are for yearly contracts, yearly for the first one, renewal for everyone after. Cell rent is its own little program we have, and its main thing is it's a monthly service option. The idea here is if a customer already owns a modem, an ISCO modem, but either they don't have service or maybe they have service that, that's a yearly contract, but they only need to use this modem maybe 3 months out of the year. And the idea here is instead of getting tied into a 1-year contract and paying for 9 months you're not using, you can actually work through us and we will just set up a month-to-month contract for you. So you're not paying for the entire year. And so this is where the cell rent comes in. If you already have ISCO modem and you just need it for a few months out of the year and you don't necessarily need a complete full contract. So Cell rent, its service provision, is also 10 megabyte plan and also 25 text messages, which also goes towards your text alarms and your responses. Just like the yearlies per month, the cell rent uses the same allegation for your data and your text messages. So again, a couple examples. A customer may have, well, they have to have an ISCO modem, but they only need to use it 3 or 4 months out of the year. And it's used in case, so they don't have to necessarily sign up for an entire yearly contract. So this is, I think this is where we're really keying in on. We have a lot of service providers asking for this type of thing, where instead of paying for a whole year. So that's what the cell rent is really based around, is being able to support that need. So the iSell supports a number of devices here. We have the DuraTracker, the Signature, the 2100 series, and the 6712 modem, 6712 sampler modem. If you have any issues in trying to set these up, you get the equipment, something's not working right, you have a problem with your plan, call our 800 number and use option 1 to talk to our product support group. That allows you to get right in and allows us to figure out what you've got going on and get it addressed. And with that, I thank you for your time. We are now going to go ahead and open up for questions and answers, and let's start with that.
Okay, thank you, Dennis and Kaushal, for explaining this new service. And for the Q&A section, we have been joined by both Kaushal and Chad Ebert, who is a true expert on the iSell service. So with that, we will go ahead and open for questions. I was questioned on whether this service is offered internationally. Chad or Kaushal, can you answer that for us?
Sure. So this service is currently available only for US. So it is not available internationally at this point. So if you are calling from international, I can see some of the people are calling from international or outside USA. Unfortunately, that service is not available right now, but at appropriate time, we will announce for the availability of that service.
Another question is, has a smartphone app been developed for the Android or iPhone that we can use the iSell? At this point, no, there is no application to connect up with our equipment via an app. So no, not at this time.
The next question is, who is the service provider for iSell? And we have coverage issue with a certain providers currently. You know, when we provide the service, we make sure that it works properly. And if you do not, let's say if you put in an area where there is no tower or there is no service, we should be able to detect that, you know, the service is not available. So that's a beauty of providing or buying everything from our side, that we can provide you good information if there is a service issue. Very good questions. How long can you go between end of service until you need to renew to use the renewal code and avoid having to purchase a new service? Such as if there is 1 year break where we wouldn't need to use particular line at the end of the year, would we just be able to go ahead and renew it? Chad, do you want to answer that?
I would say if it's been lapsed for about a month, you'd have to start over. Because at that point, we're going to cancel the line and give up the phone number and IP address. and we won't be able to get that back. So we'd have to start new, and we'd need to know the IMEI of the unit, the serial number of the unit, so we can get new service activated on it.
The next question is, what is M2M service? That's a good question. M2M service is basically machine-to-machine service. Normally, what we use on our phone is we are trying to connect with other parties or with the server or to download something. But here, it's like field instruments, which does not able to communicate. So that's why this is a specific service which called it as a machine-to-machine service. It is mainly a data service, and on the phone that we are using it's a voice kind of a service, but it's also now everything is going on data, but that is a different from human interface. There is no machine to machine interface. In this case, no human interface at all. Machine is talking directly to the server. That's why it is called machine to machine interface. Chad, can you take the next question about the hardware?
What hardware would I need to support in an avalanche? You need C0 hardware in the actual avalanche for it to be able to communicate to our newer LTE modems. Then you'd order the 6712 LTE modem geared toward Verizon. So then it would work with the iCell network. That there's what you need to order for the avalanche. Can you talk about how incoming data is formatted? Does the end user have any control over format? Considering for stormwater applications, so rainfall, velocity, total flow. The data, the format is already preset due to our equipment. To get the data out of the equipment, you need to use FlowLink, our software, or with our flow meters, you could have the data push up to our FlowLink cipher and view the data there. So there's really no way to change the format of the way the data comes out. It's all preset within the meter itself. Any certain specs on the computer you need to download the data. Main thing is you need to have a computer with our FlowLink software package so you can call up the unit remotely and pull down the data onto the local database on your computer. Or if it's a flow meter, it can push up to the FlowLink cipher.
And ISCO host the data on FlowLink Global or FlowLink Cipher? Yes, we do host the data for FlowLink Cipher. FlowLink Global is just an web user interface for the data that is stored on your server. So for your answer is yes for FlowLink Cipher. FlowLink Cipher, we provide complete service that includes data hosting, data analysis, everything in the cloud. Will this SIM card have a static IP address? Answer is yes. All the SIM cards that we will send will have a static IP address. What is the data limitation for cell rent? It will be the same cell data. It's like 10 megabyte and 25 message per month. That's we will offer with iCell, whether you buy it, the new or the yearly subscription, or you rent the service. It's the same data plan. And but only thing is for the cell rent, the difference is that you have to rent it on a monthly basis. Minimum period is 1 month. So, and it will be in a multiple of months. So minimum is 1 month, and then the more services for the in a multiple of months. So if you need for 45 days, it is basically 2 months of data, 2 months of cell rent service. If I renew the service before its expiry, will I lose any number of days from the previous subscription? No. Even if you renew it before it expires, your renewal start date will automatically set to the date of expiry. So you will get a full service irrespective of whenever you renew the service. How much it costs for the initial purchase and then annual subscription? This service is available only on annual subscription. So there is no initial purchase. Everything is available on annual subscription. And as far as the pricing is concerned, you should talk to your local reps to get the price, because you may have modem or you may not have modem, and the prices, they will understand your application, what are equipments you have, what kind of modems you will need for that equipment, and they will give you proper price information. Why 10 megabyte? So, I already discussed about machine-to-machine interface. So normally, when we are on using our phones, we generally sign up for the plan, which is maybe gigabytes or kind of thing, because we download videos and those kind of, movies and those kind of stuff. Here, for machine-to-machine interface, the data size is small. For an example, that with our equipment, if you are logging data at 15 minutes and pushing data at every 3-4 hours, the data is roughly 3 to 4 megabytes per site. So the very small database, not a big data size like what we do with the videos and pictures and movies and kind of stuff. So that's why 10 megabyte is more than enough size. The price is the price cheaper than current Verizon option? So currently what, or so far we were doing it before releasing this iSell services, we were not offering any of the phone services. So we don't know what is your current Verizon service pricing is, because you must have worked with your phone service provider at that time and you must have got the price. But our initial feedback suggests that most of the customers, they got a much better price with us than they signed up directly. And it's all because of the volume. It's understandable, but it's all because of the volume contract. I have an existing signature flowmeter. Would I be able to sign up for iSell? The answer is yes, you can. If you have a signature modem, already purchased with signature, then you just have to place an order for iSell, and we will send you a SIM card so that uh, the service is available to you. If you do not have modem, then you can buy signature modem with iSell services, and you will get a complete package, modem and SIM card. But the short answer is yes, you can, even if you have an existing ISCO equipment, you can buy iSell service. Who is the sales rep for the Wisconsin? Is the Mukehi Water, and you will find information of our reps through our public website. So you can visit our public website, but you will be able to find that information. For Wisconsin, it's Mukehi Water.
And to add to that, Kaushal, our website, Teledyne ISCO.com. If you go to our webpage, on the upper right-hand corner, there is a Find Your Rep. If you select that, and then either select option for sampler or flowmeter and enter your zip code, it will provide you our rep's phone number and email address.
Do the DuraTracker have modems built in them already? DuraTracker is available with and without modem. So if you have ordered with modem, we will build the modem inside. The modem will be integral part or inside DuraTracker. So you can buy it either with modem or without modem. And as we explained, iSell services also can be ordered when you order with DuraTracker with modem.